Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimle. We're on DTT because we're free to air. On DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, James Gyakye Quayson takes a seat as a duly elected member of parliament for Assin North. Will be live in Parliament and the court as the forgery and perjury case against him is heard today. Meanwhile, Attorney General fires back at political elites on prejudicial comments, saying it exceeds the bounds of acceptable speech and denigrates the courts. We have details of his statement for you.
Countrywide, especially in relation to financial offences, takes too long to conclude. I mean, it is just unheard of.
Plus, ranking member on Mines and Energy Committee cautions ECG not to falsely raise the hopes of IPPs as its MD promises to pay IPPs 100% debt owed in July, adding it is not feasible. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Nana Aisha. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. A one-sided parliament filled with jubilation today swore in the Member of Parliament-elect James Gyakye Quayson. Less than 5 members of the majority were in the House, as most members of the majority were absent. Minority MPs sang and chanted victory songs for their colleague while clad in all-white apparels. The public gallery was equally flooded with leadership from the opposition NDC, including 2024 flag bearer and former President John Mahama, his running mate for 2020 elections, Nana Jenopoku-Agyemang, and chairman of the NDC, Assin.
Proceed to administer the oaths, starting with the oath of allegiance. You've been here before, so you know the drill. So I start. I,
James Gyakye Quayson,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance.
In the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
To the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As the law established.
That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
And that I will preserve.
And that I will preserve.
Protect.
And
defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And defend the Constitution and the Republic of Ghana.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We now take the oath of a member of Parliament.
I, James Gyakye Quayson,
having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance.
To the Republic of Ghana.
To the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As by law established.
That I will uphold.
That I will uphold.
Preserve. Protect.
And
defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And that
and that
I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of parliament.
discharge the duties of member of parliament.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable members, congratulations.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Parliament of Ghana and the 275 members, I offer you the essential tools of your work: the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana. Every day you are going to your farm, you must have your cutlass or your hoe to go to work.
Ahead of the swearing in, I listened to some members of parliament speaking about the MP-elect, James Gyakye Quayson. Nilante Vanderpoy is MP for Ododo constituency, and Davis Ansopoko is MP from Pryor, so they spoke on the AM show.
The context in which the Domahini spoke. People have taken what he said out of context. He said that, look.
And he's a former judge himself.
He's a judge. He's still a judge.
Well, he's still because I thought with the chieftaincy.
No, he's a high court judge in Tema.
Tema.
He said that the people outside, our citizens outside, contribute a lot, FDIs, into our economy. Even in our social life, they tend to help a lot of our communities with development projects and the rest. But when it comes to contributing to legislature, we say we cannot allow them. And we have passed a bill, we have passed the law on dual citizenship. Yet we are still holding on to the old law that do not permit people with dual citizenship to sit in parliament. So he is advising, as a judge, he is advising that the Attorney General and the President, he said he is advising, should just end this and now look at that law. You understand? I'm happy my brother is also saying it. And I will support him 100%. Because you see, the times when that law, that constitutional provision was made, has changed. Whether we like it or not. Today.
I mean, it's Ned Adamu Dramani Sakande.
You see, Adamu Sakande's own is different.
I get the differences, but I'm just saying that the same, maybe a similar context.
That time, I said
I
that.
get it in the context of the time, the period. Relevance then,
that time,
law must be relevant.
I said that it was wrong. Okay. Adamu should not have been incarcerated. You understand? I mean, it was wrong. If, for instance, somebody errs on the side of the law in his attempt to serve the nation,
right,
such a person should not go to jail.
See,
people's allegiance to the state should not be questioned by the mere fact that for one reason or the other, they embarked on a trip to seek for some greener pastures somewhere. You understand? So that is where I would want to look at this whole matter from. I support and I'm going to advocate for the bill to ensure that we allow dual citizens an opportunity. For instance, if you look at an institution like the NCA, that is the nerve of our country. NCA, the nerve of our country. Look at National Health Insurance Authority. That holds the data, the health data of our country. These two institutions can be managed by people who hold dual citizens. Why can't such persons sit in parliament to pass laws?
You have them in the SOEs and the rest, yet when it comes to certain institutions, you say they...
So, for me, that is where I want to look at. And I welcome this Gyakye Quayson's election, and I'm thinking that it becomes a platform for members of parliament from both sides to engage in a dispassionate...
Should we look at the law? Should we reconsider?
Yes. So I am calling for an amendment of the law.
Okay.
We need to be able to amend Article 94, 2A or 2B, that says that the person should not be a citizen of any other country aside Ghana.
Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Gyakye Quayson joins us live with more from Parliament. Kweku, first we saw a jubilant minority but an empty majority side. What happened? All right, we'll try and get Gyakye Quayson back on the line to tell us more about how all this unfolded in Parliament. But Minority Leader Dr. Gyakye has also been speaking in Parliament.
Our colleague, the Honourable James Gyakye Quayson, on his re-election and to welcome him back to the House of Parliament where he rightly belongs. Mr. Speaker, his success in the by-election represents a victory for our democracy and a clear evidence of the savviness of the Ghanaian electorate. Right Honourable Speaker, the Assin North constituency witnessed, unfortunately, a sudden outburst of new, unplanned and unbudgeted projects, including the distribution of cash amid a major economic crisis of our lifetime. So, Speaker, all this was to influence voters. Immediately, Honourable James Gyakye Quayson's election was declared null and void and of no legal effect by the Supreme Court of Ghana. The Speaker, the good people of Assin North, however, demonstrated their mandate cannot be bought by virtual projects or cash. Right Honourable Speaker, on the 7th of December 2020, the good people of Assin North expressed their mandate freely and elected Mr. James Gyakye Quayson to represent them in the House. Sadly, on the 6th of January 2021, every effort has been made by proxies of government to prevent Mr. Quayson from representing his people, including injuncting him from functioning as a member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, and this lasted for almost 14 months until the Supreme Court finally made their pronouncement. Right Honourable Speaker, when these machinations by proxies of government failed to break the resolve of Mr. Quayson, the government then took up the challenge frontally and instituted a criminal charge against him with the Attorney General, virtually urging the High Court to hear the matter on a daily basis, all to prevent Mr. Quayson from campaigning for re-election. Mr. Speaker, the President even went further by calling on voters of Assin North not to vote for Mr. Quayson because he was jail-bound. Mr. Speaker, the President was certain and categorical when he said, don't vote for someone who will end up in jail. Right Honourable Speaker, this singular categorical statement from His Excellency the President is not only prejudicial, but Mr. Speaker, it's a threat to fair trial and justice, and therefore undermines the judicial system, which is indeed the anchor of our democracy.
We can now speak with Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Gyakye Quayson, who joins us live. Kweku, so we saw a jubilant minority but an absent majority. What really happened?
So even before sitting started, there were chapters in Parliament that the NPP side intended to boycott this. We did not secure any independent confirmation of this. Indeed, at some point about 10:30, thereabouts, when we just expected the Speaker to file in, there were only two NPP MPs on the floor. At the time I spoke to you earlier on, there were only two NPP MPs on the floor. That is the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, and the former Chieftaincy Minister. They were the only two NPP MPs on the floor. But just when the Speaker of Parliament came in, a number of them also came in when the prayers were being said. In total, there were about 30 on the floor. Not as many of them now normally come to sit in. We do not know why that numbers were so. But of course, they did not come in dressed for any special occasion like the minority you saw there. Every single minority MP today who was on the floor of the House was wearing some white of a sort. And they were trying to say that they were trying to be in a jubilant mode. They were in a celebratory mode, celebrating that Gyakye Quayson is back in Parliament. Indeed, if you also look at the Observers Gallery, it was also packed. There were so many supporters of the NDC who were there, chiefs and elders from the Assin North, who also came in to witness the swearing-in ceremony of James Gyakye Quayson, the former President John Dramani Mahama, leading a pack of NDC officials to come in there. But what is now becoming a big matter that is stirring some sort of controversy on the floor now is the minority in Parliament's threat that every day that Gyakye Quayson has to be in court, they will not come to Parliament, and that they will boycott sitting to support their member of Parliament. What they are saying is that this is a message to the President, this is a message to the Attorney General, that if you do not want corporation to suffer in the House, then drop the prosecution, drop the criminal charges against James Gyakye Quayson, let the country forge ahead. They are saying all this on the back of the Domahine's comment. In fact, just before I climbed up to have this conversation with you, the Deputy Minority Leader, Emmanuel Amakufibua, was addressing journalists down there, insisting that this is a threat that they are going to carry through, that every day that Gyakye Quayson is expected to be in court, they will not be there. We know that today Gyakye Quayson is expected to be back in court because of the perjury trial he's facing in court. And the minority leader was categorical that as soon as Gyakye Quayson is expected to leave the precincts of Parliament and go to court, all of them will leave and go with him. That will mean that government business will suffer a lot, because ordinarily in Parliament, for business to go ahead as per the standing orders, you need at least 91 or 92 MPs present to be able to form a quorum. For a decision to be taken, you need at least half of all MPs present. That will mean that if the NDC MPs don't come to Parliament, the NPP MPs will have to come, each and every one of them, all of them, 137, plus the independent MP, before they can form a decision-making quorum to do government business. So a tough time ahead for government business in the House if the minority do not rescind this new stance they've taken, that if the prosecution of James Gyakye Quayson is not dropped, they are not going to cooperate with government. We've also been now hearing from the majority leader, State Chairman Sabonso. He has not commented on this threat by the minority yet, but he has also been talking about that vote buying allegation that the minority leader leveled against the NPP and government. He says that the NDC were also sharing cutlasses and other things in the constituency, trying to say that both parties did something sort of monetization. And so that is a message that is now stirring some form of controversy as to whether or not the minority will carry through this threat to boycott government business every time that James Gyakye Quayson has to be in court for his perjury trial.
Kweku, how has the majority been responding to this threat from the minority? At least I saw the majority leader in the chamber.
Yeah, the majority leader was on his feet. He did not speak categorically to this threat of boycott by the minority leadership. But we expect that this is huge because of the numbers game I was telling you about. If government needs some key business to go through, they will need some support from the minority. If they don't get that support, it will mean that all 137 plus the independent MP will have to be on the floor of Parliament to be able to get anything through. That is going to be a bit difficult because ministers travel every now and then. Some MPs may have fallen sick. The last time there were taxes, the Kumewu MP was not well. He could not even be in Parliament. He had to be brought in an ambulance so that his numbers could count. And this is very tough for government MPs, the majority MPs. So they know that this is something they have to deal with. Already this morning, we've been hearing from former Attorney General Gyakye Quayson, who has also been backing those calls for the case against Gyakye Quayson to be dropped. And so some conversations of a sort is going to be had. And I'm sure that the majority leader, who is also the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, knowing what a big task it will be for him to marshal all 138 MPs on the floor every time there's a crucial vote on any key government business, he will perhaps be speaking to government about this. The slightest or the only comment he made close to responding to this threat by the minority was him saying that the people of Ghana, including the government and the MPP, respect the decision of the voters in Assin North. They have decided that James Gyakye Quayson should be their MP, and they respect that. But in terms of the prosecution for perjury and the court matters, that solely lies in the hands of Attorney General Godfred Dame. We expect that they will be in court today. We don't know how the details will go from there. So clearly, we expect that from now, some sort of conversations will be had from the government side, from the majority side, to try and reach some compromise, to try and reach some agreement. We know that so many times in Parliament, deals are made. There are trade-offs about some of these key issues. So some of those key issues are going to come up in the coming days, especially where the finance minister is expected to come to Parliament to present the media budget review. If it brings in new taxes, if it brings in new revenue measures, which will need or require the support of the majority or the minority in Parliament, it will be difficult, especially with this new threat that they are making now. Aisha.
Is our man in Parliament. Definitely, you heard that the Speaker adjourned the House for some few minutes. They'll go back in there and transact business for the day. There's more coming up in our subsequent bulletins from Parliament. Meanwhile, a criminal court in Accra has adjourned the trial of the Member of Parliament for Assin, not James Gyakye Quayson, to the 6th of July. This was after the Speaker of Parliament served notice to the court that the accused is on a national assignment and would be unavailable for the trial. Lawyers for the state and accused agreed for the trial to be adjourned for Mr. Quayson to be sworn in. Richard Gyakye was in court for us. He joins us with more. Richard, tell us more about what transpired in court.
Yes, as we indicated in court, truly, Mr. Quayson is today on a national assignment. He's being sworn in. Unlike the other time that he said he was on national assignment, we disputed. We don't dispute it. Being a member of Parliament is a national assignment that he's undertaken. I think the judge also made known to us that the Speaker of Parliament had written a letter to the court. We went through the letter and we have the considered view that a request for an adjournment is in the right direction. So that's how come we never opposed the request for an adjournment.
Do you harbor any fears that this may become a norm in this particular trial?
We hope it does not become a norm. You may be an MP, that's all right. But if you have a matter in court, you must also be in court. Because you have two arms of government, the legislature, in fact, the two arms, the legislature and then the judiciary. If you have an assignment to perform in Parliament, you do it. If you have an assignment or a duty to also perform in the court, you also do it. You cannot say because you have an assignment in Parliament all the time, the court should not go on dealing with these matters. That would not be proper.
Your office has reacted to comments that have been made with respect to such of these cases. But directly, we did not see a comment to the call for you to enter a nolle prosequi. Is that to say that we are not considering that?
You see, when it comes to prosecution of matters, there should be no attempt to stampede attorneys from discharging their legitimate duties. As to whether an MP may be entered or not, it's the sacred duty of the Attorney General. And he takes a decision, he need not consider any other input from others by looking at the surface of the case. So we've issued a statement and we stand by that statement.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Boa speaking after the proceedings. Kojo Nyakun has now joined us. Kojo, what transpired in court after this ruling was adjourned?
Aisha, lawyers for the accused led by Speaker first argued that the MP was unavailable as a result of a national assignment. So this position was further supported by the Deputy AG, Alfred Boa. Now the judge, however, indicated that the court had been served with document by the Speaker of Parliament, indicating that Gyakye Quayson would be sworn in today, and that is why Gyakye Quayson will be unavailable for the trial today. Today was expected to be the day where both arguments will be made by counsel for the defendant and then counsel for the accused. And so it is slated for July 5th.
How are the lawyers for James Gyakye Quayson especially responding to this?
Well, so Ibrahim Amalba, one of the counsels for James Gyakye Quayson in an interview, indicated that they are not afraid of the trial. In fact, he makes the point that they are fully prepared for the case and nothing can deter them or intimidate them.
Kojo Nyakun is a man following the case in court for us, and of course, that case has been adjourned to July 6th. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, will from today begin the payment of independent power producers as agreed in the new payment offer reached last Friday following the threat by the IPPs to stop generation over an outstanding $1.7 billion debt. Managing Director of ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, says the accounts of the IPPs will be credited once they fulfill their part of the deal, adding the ECG is in the position to pay the IPPs 100% based on the renegotiated terms with the individual IPPs.
I subjected ECG, in fact, with the permission of my board chair, we subjected ECG to a KPMG audit. You see, Honorable churned out some figures. That's what I'm saying. Honorable, if you had spoken to me, you would realize that fundamentally there were some operational issues, and now those operational issues are gone. The transformation of the company is almost there. This is the KPMG document. This is ECG at 2022. He said 7 billion, which is true. This is ECG January to May. How much is that? 4 billion.
That's 3.91 billion.
There is 1.6 debt that has been used against, that's a collection that has been used against ECG's taxes to clean ECG's books to make ECG what? Viable to borrow. So that if you add this 1.6 to this 3.9, you're talking about 5-point-something billion. As at what? May
2023.
Can we still focus on this?
So you're saying, to direct to his question, in July, you are in a position to pay IPPs 100% when they send you a bill.
So what I'm saying to you is this. As at now, the company's fortunes are turning around.
Yeah, but the question, can you answer directly?
So I'm going to answer you directly. As Elikwilim told you, we are going to pay them exactly what we promised that we were going to pay
100%?
them. But that's again, before that, you are going to be mischievous with that, because I initially told you that as is now, with the bills they are bringing, it is not sustainable. So we have started engaging them on these take or pay components to change the conversation from the amounts that they are talking about. Because to be honest with you, the figures they have now, they are not sustainable.
Okay, but you are talking about the remaining current. So at the end of July, when they bring you a bill,
it will be current.
Would you pay it in full?
It will be current.
In full?
Yeah,
100%.
Based on the understanding we have with all of them individually, yes.
I'll let clarify before I go back to Jinapo, because it was his substantive turn. This 100%, is it based on a renegotiated contract?
It's based on a renegotiated conversation on the financials, which at the end of the day, the Attorney General will look at, because it has its own implications. And then whatever the necessaries need to be done will be completed for it to move forward.
Mayor CEO of the Chamber of IPP, Elikwilim Apetogbo, says he has no knowledge of an agreement between ECG and individual IPPs to pay them 100% of the debt.
I have indicated that he made an offer to us based on going forward. And I said generally we are expecting a solution to all our outstanding. Now, he is making a point that he has engaged all the IPPs individually and have come to an agreement. And to the best of my knowledge, there was no agreement like that, because we have real-time information amongst ourselves. So I would be glad if we can confirm or clarify further.
Well, ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, is cautioning the ECG to hasten slowly in order not to falsely raise the hopes of the IPPs as well as Ghanaians.
Your so-called ring fencing, it doesn't hold. Just this week, this Friday, they've submitted a memo. They want to borrow $620 million to pay Car Power's fuel, Letasco's fuel. All these are part of the legacy debt. And so when today, even after the ministries presented this to us, I'm hearing from ECG, which is a company. ECG is not government. And saying that now you're going to ring-fence it, it sends very mixed signals. I can agree, ECG, that you are in a tight corner. I can agree that things are difficult. But I think that we should tread cautiously in raising people's expectations. Even right on this program, the very IPPs you are engaging with, you are not in tandem with them. When it comes to legacy debt, you are not in tandem with them. When it comes to going forward in terms of the bills to keep current, you are not in tandem with them. Because Elikwilim speaks for all the IPPs. It's because the IPPs cannot speak individually. That is why they've come together as a chamber and they've elected a spokesperson. And when they appeared before the Mines and Energy Committee, we had clarity that he speaks for them. So when he speaks, I can't take it lightly. Also, ECG, I can tell you for sure that even if you were to collect all the sales 100% this month, you cannot pay the IPPs.
President Akufo-Addo has commissioned Phase 3 of the 5-district water supply project in Adakluwaya in the Adaklu district of the Volta region. The project has reservoirs, transmission, distribution lines, and fetching points in 95 beneficiary communities in the Adaklu Central, Tong, and Agotime-Ziope districts. There's a report by Fred Kwame Sari.
The process for the construction of the 5-district water supply project commenced in 2012 to serve the Agotime-Ziope, Central Tong, North Tong, Ho West, and Adaklu districts. Phase 1 and 2, which were completed in April 2020, saw the extension of treated water to 120 communities in the Adaklu, Agotime-Ziope, and Central Tong districts. Phase 3, which commenced in November 2020, has since been completed, with water being extended to 95 more beneficiary communities. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Water and Sanitation Agency, Dr. Wolanyo Kojo Siabi, highlighted the objective of the 5-district water supply project.
Our data indicates that about 33% of groundwater resources in the Volta region have iron, manganese, common salt, hardness, and other water quality challenges, which have health consequences. The removal of these contaminants from groundwater require complex water treatment methods that are also expensive to operate and sustain. This is the major reason why Community Water and Sanitation Agency finds the harnessing of the Volta River for safe water supply to communities within its basins the most appropriate and technically feasible solution.
President Akufo-Addo underscored his government's commitment to promoting public health by increasing access to potable water.
The focus of government is to ensure that all regions across the country are provided with adequate, safe, affordable, and reliable water services. We're also committed to ensuring that we practice safe sanitation and hygiene by the year 2030, in line with the attainment of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our strategic goal is to use a multifaceted approach with emphasis on governance and sector institutional strengthening to accelerate access to equitable water services throughout Ghana.
We're still live on Joy News today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlemle. We are on the Fanofa Street. We'll take a break. When we return, there's business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The illegal trade of pesticides in Ghana is adversely affecting the crop protection industry, generating multiple risks to human and crop health and hurting the economy. The trade, which is an offense in the Ghana Pesticide Act, has discouraged research into new particles since the intellectual property of the manufacturers is not respected. To combat the trade and handling of illegal pesticides, staff of the Department of Public Prosecution of the Attorney General's Office have been empowered to lead prosecution and sanctioning of culprits. Here's more.
For the production of a pesticide, specific and rigorous standards must be followed. However, while companies invest in innovation and search for new alternatives, a global problem arises, which is the illegal trade in pesticides. The price of a counterfeit product can be 30 to 40% lower than the price of the original brand product, which convinces farmers to opt for counterfeit products. Programs Manager for CropLife Ghana, Rashad Kadiri, says many farmers have recorded loss of their crops due to the use of adulterated products. He was speaking at a capacity building program by the Pesticide Regulatory Authorities for the sanction and prosecution of culprits by staff of the Attorney General's Office.
When it comes to tracking counterfeiting, it's a process. And there have been one or two improvements, and there have been one or two reported cases about these counterfeits and other illegal pesticides from the border post. Now, the missing link has always been the prosecution aspects. I mean, it's affecting our member companies. You have no idea the costs and then the efforts that our companies put in to bring these products into the market. For someone to just sit somewhere and then put in an unsuspecting product and sell it to unsuspecting farmers, it has implications not just on our member companies, but on the farmer and then food security in general as well.
The Environmental Protection Agency attributes the widespread smuggling, adulteration, and counterfeiting of pesticides to less or non-existent penalties. Director of Chemical Control and Management Sector at EPA, Joseph Edmond, has assured of severe penalties to make the illegal trade in pesticides an undesired business.
Some of the penalty units that we have in our law are quite low. So, if you arrest somebody and is paying as low as 200 penalty units, and kind of thing, I think that was it. Of course, it's not punitive enough. So, what will scare people from embarking on bad practices is.
Now, the Ghana Stock Exchange recorded a 14.9% return in CD term for investors in the first half of this year, but it registered a negative 10% return for investors in dollar terms. There's more in this Business Desk report.
After a challenging economic time in 2022, resulting in a debt restructuring, the Ghana Stock Exchange is bouncing back to its previous height. This follows improved market sentiments due to the International Monetary Fund support program. In CD term, the Accra Bourse was the fourth best performing stock market in Africa out of 15 stock markets in the first half of this year. However, in dollar term, it's placed 11th. Its market capitalization also shot up to 69.59 billion cedis as of 30th June 2023. So far, the non-banking stocks have been leading the gains on the equity market. The financial stock index, however, lost 17% in value in the first 6 months of this year. This was primarily due to the domestic debt exchange program, which has impacted their balance sheets. 8 of the financial stocks have consequently lost market value. Meanwhile, the best performing stock in the first 6 months of this year was Benso Oil Palm Plantation. It was followed by Total Energies and MTN Ghana.
More business news on the marketplace. Stay tuned. Sports is up next.
Thank you for staying with us. Gary Smith here with the sports and the chat about the failure of the under-23 team to advance in Morocco has continued to get more reaction. This morning here at Joy, Neelante van der Poel, the former sports minister, weighed in. He, as you know, was sports minister at a time where there was a lot of friction between the sports ministry and the GFA, mainly because he did not agree to the way the GFA planned its operations. He tells us that the GFA and the system largely plans to fail at major tournaments, including the Africa Cup of Nations.
When issues like this happen, we sit down and just look at ad hoc measures and ad hoc solutions. It's a systemic thing. And so if you develop an opportunity to sit down, interrogate, do a proper diagnosis of the situation, and be able to, plan and see what sort of outcomes we'll have within the short term, the medium term, and the long term. You can't build a national team just by continuing with what we've done, Frefre Kobo. You can't just pick people and put them into a team. Look at the English team playing at the European Under-21 Championship. These are boys who have graduated from the Under-17, Under-19, Under-20, and 21. They used to have people like Carvel, Lewin, Solanke, and all those in the team, but they have now moved up to the Under-23 level. Foden, Greenwood, all these people were part of the team, but they've moved on. So the junior ones have come in. In the next 4 years, those who are now playing in the English Under-17 tournament will be there. 2, all the teams, all the premier clubs have junior levels. 21 playing in a league, 19 playing in a league. So the system is built in such a way that there will always be infusion of new, younger faces into the national sphere. What do we say here? Who are we depending on? We wait when we have a tournament, we invite somebody here, we call this person from here, put them together to play. We can never achieve results when we continue to do that. It's like we always plan to fail. And that is not it's not responsible enough.
Conversation continues. Moving on, and the Vice President has hosted the winners of the Ghana Football Awards 2023 2 weeks ago. A very glitzy event here in Accra, the conference center, saw the 5th edition of the awards come off, and in the end, Mohamed Kudus and Blessing Shine Agbomadi were adjudged male and female footballer of the year for 2023. They went to see the Vice President.
It's amazing how this award scheme hasn't been there all these years. Because one would have thought we are a footballing nation, number one sports in the country. One would have thought that this football award scheme would have been in place a long time ago. But better late than never. I want to congratulate all of you who have worked so hard to put this award scheme together. I think it's just been started, and it's really, its time has come. So I want to congratulate you on putting these awards together, and to congratulate our first 2 winners, male and female. I don't think anybody can question whether Kudus or Blessing should have been the footballer of the year in terms of that. We've seen them play, and we are very proud of them. Very, very, very proud of them because of what they have done on the field, playing for the country, playing for their respective clubs. We saw Kudus in the World Cup and everything. So we are very proud of them. I want to congratulate them. Blessings, Hazaka's ladies, it's a club that I have supported a bit. As you know. So it's a club that I'm also very interested in. And now you are up in Morocco, doing very well up there. And I wish you very, very well. And it's very good that we are promoting.
Good stuff for them. Ghana Football Awards 2024 will be back, God willing, in June next year. That's the sport for now, but head over to myjoyonline.com. We have more stories, more breaking news. There's some news involving Thomas Partey. That's just breaking. We'll confirm it, and please join us at 2 p.m. for that one. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Now, Ghana's Education Minister, Dr. Gyakye Quayson, has urged parents to fully support their children to reach their full potentials in life. Speaking at the 5th graduation of the Brain Hill International School, the minister reiterated the importance of parents' role in the child's creative development.
Focusing on. In school, one of the things we have to be focusing on is to help the children develop a growth mindset. It's a big movement now in the States. In various schools, students are taught what they need to do in regards to growth mindset. So Google it. I know in Ghana they say Google. Yeah, Google it. Understand growth mindset yourself as a parent and begin to help your children develop growth mindset. That is what will make them great individuals. If they have a fixed mindset, in their minds, many things are not possible. But if they have a growth mindset, everything is possible. It's just a question of how. When you invest yourself in your child. When you spend so much time with the child, taking them to practice ballet and all those things, one day she becomes famous because of your investment in her or in him. So there's something called a 10,000-hour rule. If you didn't take anything from here, I want you to go home and Google it again. 10,000-hour rule. This is the secret for the success of many people in this.
From that, sound engineer and highly spiritual record label Boss Kewa has opened up about the emotional impact of his signee Lasmit's decision to prematurely leave the record label, revealing that it broke his heart. He spoke on Joy Prime.
Drew had to leave because his time with the label was up. He could have stayed. He could have stayed, even though we wished he would stay and then take him to our next level. He wanted to go. I remember having a meeting with both him and his manager, Jizzy, who was also not happy because he thought that it was an opportunity to also take him to his next level. Yeah. But he wanted to genuinely go. And I made peace with that. I understood somebody like Lasmit, after investing, wishing to take him to the next level. If I begin to talk about what the investment is, you would know that we really went deep, had a conversation with him, and then we had to move to our next level. Then suddenly, the conversation we had, we sealed. It was not written, but it was sealed with understanding, both of us, with evidence. Suddenly, the narrative changes because now he's become big and he's been influenced by seeing people in our circle, you know. Really? Yeah, and so he decides that, listen, there's back and forth. So his contract wasn't... Well, you see, it's deeper. There was nothing like even a contract in the first place. Oh.
On that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News. Later, small Showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins. Also, when you log on to myjoyonline.com/entertainment, you find all Showbiz news. Good afternoon to you, Aisha.
Good afternoon to you, beautiful Becky. That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.